The longer you stay alive, the longer you can enjoy Boost Mobile's unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. So here are some tips. Do not parallel park on a cliff if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not mistake a wasp nest for a piñata if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not microwave a hard-boiled egg if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with the price that never goes up. Stay alive and enjoy unlimited wireless for $25 a month forever with Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience lower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Dreaming of getting the all-new iPhone 17 Pro designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever?
Then stay in bed and let a Boost Mobile expert deliver and set it up for you.
Oh, actually, they will have to get up and open the door.
Oh, right.
Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms apply.
From big game bites to sideline sips, get everything you need for a watch party victory at Whole Foods Market. Find yellow sale signs all over the store, from the chip aisle with salty snacks from Kettle in late July down to the meat department, where there are no antibiotics ever fresh sausages are made in-house. And gear up with effortless, ready-to-heat wings and fresh guacamole from the prepared foods department. Instant touchdown. Fuel your game day with big flavors from Whole Foods Market.
Welcome to Aran Island Discs, a podcast series where we talk to Irish people from different walks of life as they reflect on their own journeys. Join me, Rossa McDermott, as we explore the many aspects of Irishness and what it means to each of our guests through life's ups and downs. Olivia Hunt, welcome to Aran Island Discs.
Thank you so much, Rossa, for having me. I absolutely love your podcast. It is really, really special. I've enjoyed listening to so many episodes, so it is a pleasure to be here.
You're very kind. I'll send you the money soon. Now, the first trick question is, have you been to Aran Islands? And if you did, how did you get there?
Yes, I have been to the Aran Islands, and something very, very special happened on one of them. So I went to Inishmaan. It was my first time to be on the Aran Islands 7 years ago, and we got the ferry there from Doolin. Yeah. And would you believe, while we were there, my boyfriend at the time got down on one knee and proposed to me.
Wow, you had no inkling, no idea?
No, I didn't. And it was so funny because when he did drop to, it's so funny, Rossa, first of all, he dropped to two knees, and secondly, he forgot the ring. So it was really, really funny.
You forgot it in a bed and breakfast, I hope, not at home.
It was, and you know, we stayed in a really lovely B&B out there. Someone had recommended it to me. I had looked at, I don't think this place is there anymore, the Inishmaan Suite, but it was all booked out. And, you know, I was actually really happy to stay in a B&B because I would travel a lot with my job. And, you know, you'd be staying in hotels, lovely hotels here, there and everywhere. But I just loved the simplicity of it. And we went for a lovely walk. What I loved in Inishmaan was there was a real sense of stillness and groundedness there. It felt like we were the only ones on the island. And in the B&B, would you believe, it was a woman from Guatemala that owned it. She had married a man from Inishmaan.
Wow.
And she had, they got married and lived there their whole lives. They have children. I can't think of her name, but I remember she had coffee, like, would flown in from her family, and it was absolutely, like, amazing. But it was so special. There's one pub on that island as well. And I remember we went in there for a drink, and there was one other guy sitting at the bar, a local, and yeah, I just really enjoyed. We spent 2 nights there, and we loved it so much. We were trying to stay another night, but nowhere had there was no accommodation. So what we did was we got a boat to Inishore, and we managed to find a B&B over near where the shipwreck is there.
All right, yeah.
And yeah, it was lovely. So
How
that
was the weather?
My first trip.
How was the weather?
The weather was actually okay. There was a storm at one point, and they thought the ferries would be cancelled, and we were actually secretly delighted because, you know, like special milestones like that in your life, like
you're trapped in the right place.
Yeah, and you know, it's just one of them moments that will always bring so much joy to me, and I smile thinking about it even now because moments like that are so precious in life, and I believe that when the good times come, we have to savour them as much as we can. Yeah,
you can't bottle them, but you have to savour them. Yeah, and. My memories are Ireland of 3 trips of all good days, good weather. Nobody proposed to me, Olivia, but it was still joyful all the same. And actually, Peter Murta, who was a previous guest on this, I think he got engaged on the Aran Islands as well.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So it's a thing.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, it's lovely. And, I haven't been back to Inishmaan. I definitely will. But we have gone on holiday since to Inishmore and like cycled around the island. I love to swim in the sea. So I've been in there and absolutely love the Aran Islands.
Yeah, it's a stunning place. It's a stunning place, yeah. How would you describe yourself, Olivia, if you're in immigration forms or in the old days on your passport? What it is that you see yourself as?
It's an interesting question because, and I always on forums, I find it hard to fill out because, I know that we're all so much more than the roles, the roles that we play in life, the different roles in terms of like work. But I would how I would describe myself, say to you, would be like as somebody that would live life to the full. I would cherish every moment and I would live my life from a place of gratitude. But say professionally, I lead teams in the tech sector, and a lot of my work would be focused around coaching, performance management and mentoring. And I also run mindfulness-based wellbeing programs in the tech sector, which I absolutely love. And then I have my own business too. And under that, I would do my podcast. I would give, talks in corporate settings or anywhere really around like lots of different things, wellness, grief, coming back from adversity. And, I really feel a shift in myself over the last, few years where I feel that I am pivoting. I am being pulled more and more in that direction. And I would live my life from, I follow my intuition, Rossa. I would be very connected to it. I believe, that what I would call like a higher power or the divine speaks to us through our intuition. And for me at this stage in my life, it's very important for me to be grounded, be present to my life. And through that presence, when I listen, I know the right thing to do. And what that looks like now in my life is putting more of my attention and focus into, work that is truly meaningful. So that's like professionally, but
And how do you find, when the people you work with in the high-tech sector, we have this kind of perception of whether it's high-tech, low-tech, all this new age work. The workers are kind of, you think they're soulless. The whole business is going the wrong way from most people's view. How are the people who have to operate in it? Are they still human? Facebook's or Google's and all these kind of things. You have a view of these people.
I have worked in the tech sector for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I have met some of my closest friends in there.
Wow.
I have led incredible teams all around like Europe and South America. And honestly, I really mean this. I learn from the people I work with every day. I have met some of the kindest people in there. So I know there's that stereotypical, but for me and my team, the people I work with, like, it's not my experience that they are soulless, far from it. I work with extraordinary people, smart people, people that, really push the boundaries in terms of their potential. One of the things that I really love is seeing people reach their potential. And that is what brings me the greatest joy, like in that role. But, there's, all these roles we play. But I have to say, Ross, the most grounding role for me and my favourite role of all is being a mother to my son, James. He's 4.5. And that has been like the biggest gift I have been given in my life. And it's one, you're a parent, like I'm tested every bloody day of the week.
Oh yeah, aren't you?
But that kind of, I think it's good for us. And I think children really can ground us and bring us back to what's important. Like sometimes we are prioritizing work, but really what we should be prioritizing is spending time with the people that are most important in our lives, because life is precious and it goes by so quickly. And when I get to the end of my days, I certainly want to know that I spent and invested my time in the right areas.
Yeah, as Elton John says, the circle of life. And we all reflect on how we worked. I have a few more years on the clock than you, Olivia. How we could have done it better, spend more time, maybe with the family or not. I did a lot of that. I could have done more, perhaps. But you do kind of refract and reflect of how how time is so precious and it passes very quickly. I mean, my two daughters are now 26 and 28, and those years fly by.
Yes. And that, it scares me a little bit, Rossa. Like, I look at my son now, he's 4.5, and he's so tall and he's so full of chat. He's obsessed with lighthouses and planes at the moment. And
he's in the right place, I think, isn't he, Dunmore East?
Yes, yeah, we live in Dunmore East. So he heard about this lighthouse. He was in Hookhead Sunday and he got a book all about lighthouses, and he heard about this lighthouse called Calf Rock, and he talks about it every day. It's so funny. It's a lighthouse that was built off the coast of Cork, but structurally it was built all wrong, and a huge wave came and knocked it. So I'm getting so many like laughs out from now. He's like comes home really upset talking about Calf Rock, how it collapsed. Yeah. But like I think
a great series on RTE about lighthouses of Ireland. Do you ever see it?
No,
yeah,
I didn't, but I think he'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very simple and not complicated visually, and the lighthouse keepers talk to you. Some of them are gone now.
Well, he tells everyone he's a lighthouse keeper, and he says he's a pilot. He loves planes. So I brought him over to Waterford Airport. I know there's not much going on there, but there still is a bit of hustle and bustle around. There'd be training planes and some helicopter rides, and the 117 rescue helicopter is there. So, he'd happily spend like 2 hours just looking at them. And, he was there a few weeks, and there was a pilot that brought him in. He seen him looking outside, and my husband was with him. And Eugene, my husband, sent me a picture. I was up in Kilkenny with one of my friends of James in the plane, in a training plane. And he said, I was like, how did you get in there? And he said, a pilot left us in. He's after bringing James for a spin. And I felt my heart just drop. I was like, you let him off with the pilot on a training plane? Are you mad? But it's a great place to live, and hopefully Waterford Airport will get up and running.
Yeah, but
in the not so distant future.
Yeah, well, it was bustling at one time, but it goes to your point that life flashes by, and these chances have to be taken, even though they seem full of risk. They're not really. But you regret not giving your kids the chance to taste that thing,
Absolutely. And I think even as Irish people, we can be, very quick to give up on ourselves. You hear about cancel culture. I think sometimes we can cancel ourselves. I think Irish people really need to believe in themselves and their potential a lot more. I would see that a lot. Now, I work with teams across Europe and, say, South America at the moment, but I have managed teams like in the UK, Ireland, and, it's one thing I would have seen a lot, that kind of lack of belief. And I really think that we can just amaze ourselves if we get focused and, work on our belief system around what is possible in our lives. Like I always say, all that is possible for you. And to spend some time dwelling in possibility, for yourself, for your life. And when you do that, I think, Rossa, amazing things can happen in your life.
Yeah, I think there's two types of Irishness. I think here it's harder to do what you just said. When we go abroad, you have to do it to stand your ground, and you open up, there's nobody really watching, it's up to you, and you get liberated. And most Irish people who work abroad, get on with it and don't worry what people are saying about them, because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I feel a real freedom in myself. It's interesting over recent years. I think that I think from different life experiences, I know what a gift life is. And at the moment, a few years ago, I set up my own podcast on healing. And, I really just, something kept saying to me to do it. And, I went for it. I did it. It brings me so much joy. And I feel like now I just live from a place of following like my heart's desire. And it's like nothing would stop me, Rossa. I have so much belief in, doing the good that can come from doing work like that. And
do you have a particular series of experiences also that made you draw on that, which not everybody else has faced those kind of challenges, Olivia?
Yes. Rossa, I think that is one of the gifts that has come into my life from it. And I guess, the first thing that's very present for me, I have my hand on my heart at the moment as I share this, because it is my brother Derek's anniversary this week. So he's very much on my mind. It's his anniversary on Saturday. And my brother, Derek, he was 16 and he died in the year 2000. He died by suicide. And yeah, it was, it's like my mother was down with me at the weekend and we always seem to have this conversation. And it's really sad, around his anniversary, my mum would say to me, I wonder, did anything happen that we didn't know about? Because, it was such a shock for all of us, Rossa.
There was no sign, as always is the case, it seems.
Yeah. We did not know he was suffering in any way. He was always smiling, and that really makes me sad because I think so many of us do that. I know at times in my life, I have put on a mask, I have pretended I am okay,
Yeah.
And inside I might have been really struggling. And, over the years, thank God, I feel like I am just myself. I would, if someone asked me now how I am, I would really be honest. I don't hide how I am. I believe that's one thing Derek has taught me, never, ever to give up on yourself. If only he had known, and I wish he had known, Rossa.
Do you think it's a particularly male thing, Olivia, that we don't talk less than women, maybe?
Yeah, perhaps. I think, I know for me, I would have really good people in my life that I would feel very comfortable sharing how I am with. But it's not always the same for men. I think it's hard, even in some friendships, to actually open up that conversation around emotions. But it is so needed because, Rossa, suicide is such a big problem in Ireland, in the world.
It's a permanent fix to a temporary problem, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, and one kind word from someone could actually change the course of someone's life and actually could, make them change their mind about taking their own life. Isn't that scary?
No,
it's so important to be kind to people because you do not know what anyone is carrying. And, I think I've so much admiration for my parents, Rossa, because, I'm one of 8 kids. I'm number 6. Derek was next to me in the family. And so I was 13, I was almost 14 when he died. But, we were able to, I guess, spend time processing it. My parents had to get up and support all of us. They had to, get up and continue to make lunches, to make breakfasts.
Yeah. How did they do it? Is it resilience, Olivia? Is it stubbornness? Is it you have no choice?
I think you have no choice. There's stuff that has to be done, but, it always makes me really sad, Rossa, because I think the night my brother Derek, it was a Sunday night when it happened, he was in his room and he went missing and I had been the last person talking to him. And I remember my dad went into his room to say goodnight and he wasn't in the room.
Wow.
And then it was when I think about that night, in ways I feel like the universe starts to prepare you for, something awful that's about to happen in your life. Yeah. And I always think about I think since becoming a mother myself as well, my mother that night, say it was about, 11:30, 12, when my dad went in to say goodnight. And my dad then went up at driving around the yard. We live on a farm. He's an agri contractor and Derek would have loved tractors and all that type of stuff. And he went, looking for him. There was no sign of him anywhere. And my mother was ringing his friend's house because it was just so unlike him to do something like to be gone on a school night as well. He was in 5th year. And, as the night went on, I felt so sorry for my mother because when I look back now as a mother myself, my mother had ironed his uniform and, prepared his lunch.
As a parent, something is really, really not right.
Yeah. And I think even that morning when Mom came, it was say 6 a.m. and she was just out of her mind with worry. And I say she was trying to keep things normal for us. And I did go to school that morning, but I said to my friend on the school bus, I said, Derek didn't come home last night. He just went missing. And I said, I'm really worried about him. And I said in school at break time to one of his friends, that that he didn't come home. And then it was 11 o'clock, Rossa, and I was queuing outside history class. I'll never forget this. It's like I knew that my life was about to change. I seen the secretary at school at the time came walking up a really long corridor.
And you knew.
I knew, and she said to me to get my bag and my jacket, and she had tears in her eyes. She'd have known him very well, like he went to the same school as me.
Yeah.
And then she didn't say anything, and the long walk down then to the principal's office, and I remember then the door opened and I could see my mother and my two neighbours, because my dad was staying at home managing everything there. And my mom, like, can you imagine that for a mother to have to go and collect all of her children from school and to tell them? And after she told me what had happened, we went then to the boys' school in Strokestown. That's where I went to school. Yeah. And Gary and Nathan, my two younger brothers, were in school there. Like, Nathan would have been only 7 or 8, and Gary was just a few years older. And they were playing a football match in school. And Mommy said that she was going to let them finish the football match because she knew it would change their life forever. And, you know, that's been home then to Tulsk.
Yeah.
To our house, my brother Nathan sat on my knees, and I'll never forget this, Ross. I was 13, he was like 7 or 8, and he bawled crying the whole way home, like, because, you know, obviously none of us could really understand what had happened. But then, like, you know, walking into the house, even at that point, the house actually had been full. And, you know, when I think about Irishness, that's one thing that will always stay with me. I think Irish people are unbelievable in a crisis, the way they gather around and support a community. Yeah. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, our community, our neighbours, our friends got us through that awful time. They just carried us through, you know, by simple things. You know, I remember his friends put together a lovely book all about him, all their memories about him. And, you know, his friends played music at his funeral. And, you know, they were so good to us in the years afterwards. Like, they would always call, you know, and even now, you know, I would speak about Derek at events sometimes and on podcasts, and, you know, his friends would always reach out to me if they hear. And it's so lovely, Rossa. I really appreciate that. It connects us. That loss actually really connected our community.
Yeah, well, we're a cliched nation, but how we deal with death, funerals, is very different. I've lived all over the world, and we celebrate it, we talk about it, we don't talk about other things, but in darker moments, we're actually pretty good at helping.
It's like it gives us, it's like gives us permission to be even closer to people.
Remember people, talk about them, celebrate them, which not every culture does, Olivia. Trust me. Yes. It's very somber, nobody talks, it's very quick.
Yes. And
there's no kind of celebration of any kind. But in Ireland and Irish people, that is part of the wake, the whole culture of death is a thing that is not hidden away.
Yes. And oh my God, you know, even when I think about our school, you know, Derek, it was the first people that had ever died by suicide in our school. And, you know, the teachers, everybody was absolutely heartbroken. Yeah. Because of, you know, everyone, you know, he seemed like such a bubbly, you know, happy guy. And I think even when I think about when I went back to school, Rossa, them things around like, and him not being there, you know, him not being on the school bus, even in our home, like his room, his empty room, I used to find that just so hard walking by his room.
But where do you go to as a 13-year-old Olivia to find your way through all that and come out, whatever the other side is? These things have an impact. To be able to rationalise, inverted commas, or deal with it. Where do you go for that?
Well, I think, you know, even back then, life is a lot different now. You know, I think there's a lot more support, and even I think education around grief. I know back then, like, we were all just trying to cope, and no one knew how, like, it was so hard to understand it.
Well, there's no roadmap, that's for sure. There's no
there isn't. And I think, you know, grief by suicide is extremely complex. You know, you carry the unanswered questions, the whys. It's something you can carry for a long time, for a lifetime, sometimes, Rossa, until, you know, I really have surrendered in life to the great unknown. And I really trust that my brother is okay. I believe he has returned to a place of peace.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm so emotional this week thinking about him, but I do believe he's returned to a place of peace and love. Say, when I think about I think for me, what was most helpful was, I remember a family coming to visit us from Roscommon. We didn't know them, but they had heard what had happened. And they had also lost a child, one of their sons, to suicide. And I remember when they called, something shifted in me, because, you know, they had been through it. It was a few years before, and they were speaking about it so openly. And there was just such a connection there. And I remember then my mother had looked up this, called the Rainbow Programme. I think it still works. It still runs today. It is for children who have lost a sibling or a family member. And it was kind of like a group therapy. There was a few children like from around that were in it. And I remember going to it like a few times, but I remember I used to just feel so sad afterwards. And I think for me, I realised that I had to I realised probably in my 1920s that I needed to, get some help to process what had happened. Because, Ross, I would have kept going at school. I would have worked, in a local Irish pub called Clash at the time. It was up the road from my house. Yeah. I worked there for years and I loved that. I used to work in a coffee shop as well as a spar shop. Yeah. So I was working from a very early age, and I, would have been a very sociable person. And I think that, all of that would have kind of helped me through in ways, because I was always very good at talking to people. And I think my friends carried me through at the time as well. And, neighbours. But you know what I used to always find really hard? When his anniversary would come, or not just his anniversary, every Sunday after Mass, we used to always go down to his grave and stand there. But it's like you never even knew what to say. And there was just such a sadness. And I used to like doing that. And I don't know, it was just a habit, I think, that we all got into, that we felt it was the right thing to do. And, maybe it was for some of my family members, I don't know, but I used to really like going there. And for me now, what I think is so lovely is I feel like I have this inner knowing, Rossa, through other things that have happened in my life since, that I know that my brother Derek is with me. I know, and I have experienced, Rossa, through some of the hardest moments of my life. I have felt his presence with me. And I know that he has carried me, through really difficult times. And, what I would say to people, if they are experiencing grief or have experienced loss, it is to, open your mind and your heart to what might be. There's so much we don't know about life, about the world, about how we got here. Anything is possible after this life. And I feel like in the last few years, I've even leaned more so into all that is possible when we leave here. There's so much fear around death. Like, there's so much we don't know, but so much is possible. Yeah. And that has been very, very healing for me, Rossa, just that mindset around it. I now think that, of course, I would love if he was still here. Absolutely. I had to accept that he is not, but he is with me in a different way now, and in a very, very special way, Rossa.
Are you a stronger person as a result?
I think so. I would say that I am a very strong person. And I say that because, I would have just pushed myself through and through different things when, I don't know, maybe that's actually weak when I say that, I'd kept going and kept going and kept going. No, bro,
what I'm kind of struggling with is you say that, and it's not weakness, because I know then the rest of your work is into mindfulness and helping people and communicating. So it's obviously stronger than most of us to be able to stand there and do that and reach out to other people and get them through their battles.
Well, maybe, I have had really low points in my life, Rossa. I have definitely, there is no doubt about it, and there's times in my life where I felt really, really alone, even though there has been amazing people in my life. And I just feel what has helped me probably the most, if I'm to think back, on all of the years, I have got therapy, I still would get it, for other things that have happened in my life since. But do you know what I would say to people? In terms of healing, what has really helped me is activating my life force. And what I mean by that is bringing more vitality into my life by doing things that like energize me. So
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
There are a million reasons people start therapy. A breakup, burnout, a new job, whatever your reason, there is one place to start. Grow Therapy meets you where you are with support that actually sticks. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments, you just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Visit growtherapy.com/start now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/start now. growtherapy.com/start now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
I love to swim in the sea. I love to jump into the sea. I love to run. I love...
Are you one of these daily swimmers, are you?
I shouldn't call myself a swimmer. I'm more of a dipper. I go in and I'll dip and I'll do a little breaststroke.
And tell people the water is beautifully warm in the middle of December.
Yes, that's definitely me. But there's something about it though, Rossa. And, even moving to Dunmarise, like I'm from Roscommon, my husband's from Tipperary. We knew absolutely no one when we moved down here. And we've built a really lovely community for ourselves here. But you know what drew me here, Rossa? Something in my heart. I came here for a weekend and fell in love with it.
A late night in the ship, was it? What was it called out there? What's the pub?
It used to be called that, I think. Yeah. Well, Powers is the local here now. But I remember swimming in the sea here when I came to visit one weekend, and there was something about it. I swam in a place called Portally Cove, and it was a beautiful day. And I just felt in my heart and soul that I was like, I want to move here. And, I went home and told my parents what I was thinking, and my brothers and sisters, and honest to God, I'd say they all thought I was absolutely mad. Like, what are you moving to Waterford for? Yeah. I was living in Maynooth and Dublin for years. But Rossa, I trusted, there was something pulling me there, and I have just went with it. And
the Daisha has that strength.
But yeah, and I look out here, I'm in my garden room at the moment. I recently just built one for, work, because I work remotely, and I'm looking out at the sea, and every day I wake up, I just say to myself, thank you. I don't know who I'm even saying thank you to, but I'm just so grateful, Rossa, to be able to work, in such a beautiful part of the world. It just feels... I really know that I made the right move. And even work-wise, Rossa, I remember saying to my boss, I was like, that I was thinking of moving here. And I would have already worked from home, say 2 days a week, because the teams I manage are all in Europe and South America. Yeah. But I just trusted, I wasn't even going to let my job hold me back from this move. I was going, in terms of I was saying, I'm going to figure something out. If it doesn't work out in this role, I'll figure something out. And I think by sometimes believing and trusting, amazing things can happen. And we were so lucky, Rossa, even with, I really feel it was meant to be. We bought, say, a new house here. It hadn't been built. We bought off the plans. But even that, we were so lucky to get the house we live in. We had no one bidding against us.
Wow.
You know, we bought at a really good time. I remember going to the auctioneer. They were based in Dungarvan at the time, and we had been looking at, say, another house, and I had said, like, is there any like bungalows around? I'd really like to live in a bungalow. And he said, actually, there's a development going to be going here, and they're, you know, going to build a bungalow. They're not too bothered about doing it anytime soon, but if you want it, it's yours. And I couldn't believe it. We had been bidding on a house up in Donadee in Maynooth, near Maynooth, and it had just skyrocketed, gone out of control completely.
It's like a bend in the road, Dundee.
Yeah. So we moved here, and you know what? Like, it has been, I think, the best move I've ever made, because I you know, just living near the sea, that means so much to me, because I find it so healing. I feel it relaxes my body. It shocks my body for a little while when I get in, but I feel so vibrant, you know, for the rest of the day.
So tell me this then, you're standing queuing for coffee in Dunmorris, is it not? And a car strikes you. Was that not a sign of something?
Yeah, I know, it's interesting. And when I was saying that there, I was, when I was like, it was all meant to be, it was meant to be. But there was a period after that happened where I just said to myself, oh my God, like, this doesn't fit in with my little story about moving to the sea. And, you know, amazing it's all been. And, you know, there was a period of time, Rossa, after that happened, where I wondered, like, you know, do I even want to live here anymore? And, you know, how am I going to walk?
Yeah, because you're standing there queuing for coffee and a car careers into you and I don't know if other people involved. And you damage your pelvis, your back, this, that and the other.
Yes, that's right. I was standing waiting for a coffee
Minding your
one
own
morning.
business, getting your coppers together to pay for your coffee. I probably did it by card, knowing you. But and then bang.
And then life, you know, life happens. And that is what, unfortunately, life, you know, can bring. And it was a moment that I feel it has really, I think since then, Ross, I've just got even more, you know, I knew how precious life was with my brother and other, you know, people I've lost. But for that to happen and the way it happened, it really scared me for a long time. You know, it did. I would have had a very strong mindset throughout my recovery, but it did. It really shocked me that something like that could happen. Like, you know, you read about these things every day, but my God, like when I left my house that morning, you know, my laptop was set up for work. I was about to record a podcast about my brother Derek, which I find is just an unbelievable synchronicity or coincidence. Yeah. Like, isn't that strange? Yes. But you know, that has given me strength to really face what I faced with a lot of courage. It has really empowered me because, do you know what, Rossa? I know I'm not alone. And I know in these moments when things happen that none of us are ever alone. And that morning, I think it has just, you know, it really has changed my life in terms of, I have absolutely no question. I have zero doubt. I know our loved ones are with us. I know that we are never, ever alone. And I know that if we can connect into that, you know, they will help guide us on the right path for, you know, throughout our lives. And Rossa, after that happened, like so many things, even the week before it, you know, I feel I'm very connected because I don't know if it's because I'm a sensitive soul or what, but you know, the week before that, I felt like my brother was with me 2 days before that happened in the room. Now, I didn't see anything, but it was a feeling and he just felt very present. And, you know, I had been planning to do my podcast about him. I'd been talking a lot about Derek to my parents. And now I just know, say Derek was he was very funny and I can see him wherever he is, saying, she will know after this to trust, to believe, to know that I'm definitely here. That's how many things happened. And, you know, right before I was hit by the car, I felt my brother beside me. A presence came over me. And, you know, that has given me so much strength. In hospital at night time, Rossa, I used to feel like someone was holding my hands throughout my recovery. When I couldn't move in bed, I had, say, multiple fractures in my lumbar spine and had broke my pelvis in multiple places. Wow. So, you know, there was a period of time where I was just lying straight in bed. And I remember one night, like, it was very hard to sleep. I couldn't turn either way in the bed. I couldn't lift my legs. It was just such a surreal experience. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night, one night that I managed to get a little bit of sleep, and I looked out the window and there was a full moon and it was just shining in on me, like really, it was so bright. But I just felt really connected in that moment to the more than. And after that whole experience, I said to myself, Rossa, when my husband when I got out of hospital, I, even buying the bungalow, I was lucky I could come home, because I would have had to stay a lot longer if I had lived in a 2-story and, all the rehabilitation for that. Exactly. So when it's interesting, I left my house that morning to get a coffee. My laptop was set up. I had a day of calls. There was people wondering why I wasn't joining calls, they had no idea what had happened to me. Yeah. And that's what can happen, people in life, and I was so lucky to actually get home that time, Rossa. And so the day I did get home it was just unbelievably emotional.
How many weeks after was it?
I was in hospital for almost 3 weeks, and then I was like an outpatient. I was in and out every day. And my husband
turn off the laptop.
God, but it's funny you say that. Listen to this. When I got home, I walked into my room and I seen my laptop in the exact same. Now it was turned off, the battery had died, but it sent a chill down my spine. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, it just really scared me. But when Eugene collected me, I'll never forget this. There was like pillows all over the car for me because just in case, I was sore. And then we passed the by the A&E department, and I was just remembering, how I came into the hospital, and then we passed by the morgue. And Rossa, I am telling you, I burst out crying, and I just said to Eugene, I go, oh my God, I am the luckiest person alive. And after that, we went and collected my little boy from where he was in creche at the time. And I just said, thank you, God. Like nothing else mattered to me, only that I was, alive, that I was able to come home again, that I was been able to be a mother to James again. I felt like I can't even describe it. Just so much gratitude. And that gratitude hasn't left me, Rossa.
You never get grumpy. You're always positive. That's what it's taught you.
Oh, Jesus. I could call Eugene out here.
I'll call you.
Yeah. He'll tell you another side of it.
I'll have on the podcast next.
But listen, I try to, and I'm human, of course, there are certain thought patterns that come in. Yeah, I try and live my life from a place of presence, but I always ground myself. If I'm getting caught up in something, I always remember how lucky am I to be able to get dressed. How lucky am I to
And
be
you have
able
no
to walk.
residual injuries?
Well, say nothing that's holding me back. Okay. And I believe, honestly, Ross, I think a huge part of healing is our mindset.
Yeah.
Definitely. From tragedy. And I would, there's certain attitudes they talk about in mindfulness. And I believe if we can be more aware of them, like stuff like gratitude, acceptance, like non-striving, letting go, it can be really health enhancing. I think.
I think if you start the day, no matter what, with a bit of thankfulness, gratitude, it sets the mind on a different path for the day, no matter what happens. If you start the other way, you go down and down in a spiral, which doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. But I think overall, Rossa, what that experience has done for me is I really, really honour my life by living it to the full and embracing it as best I can. And I had a really emotional moment walking at Christmas. We have a little tradition. We go to an Italian called Azzurri here in Dumfries. It's absolutely delicious if you're ever down. Yeah. But we walked up to our house afterwards, and I was kind of feeling a bit apprehensive about it because I had to walk by where my accident happened. And, I haven't done that many times at all. And anyway, it was actually a moment I will never forget because we were walking up the road and Eugene was holding my hand on one side and James, my little boy, was holding my other hand. And I was walking by it and I just felt so many different emotions in that moment, And we walked up anyway to the house, and then say a couple of nights later we were out with friends and my babysitter's boyfriend collected us. And this wasn't, say, as nice of an experience, but I still just got on with it. So we were in a pub near where it happened, and he wouldn't have known like what happened or where it happened. And he rang and said he was outside, but he was actually parked in the exact place that my accident happened.
Yeah.
And say when I went out, I felt sick in my stomach because I had to walk there to get into the car. And I just felt like maybe this, me and my signs, I was like, maybe this is just to show you can do it. Because, you know, I've had, say, one of the firemen that helped me has said to me before, you know, would you like to just come down with me and we can talk through what happened? But I'm just like, no, I just don't want to be anywhere near where it happened. But the fact, I guess, I got into the car and I went home, but Jesus, it took a lot out of me, you know, so it just shows me my body, you know, my body remembers, but thank God through my mindfulness work, Rossa, I meet them moments in myself, them delicate moments, them vulnerable moments with compassion, as much compassion as I can.
And has music helped you along the way? Is there any song or sounds accompanying your journey that give you strength rather than take you the other way?
Absolutely. I would say there's two coming to mind at the moment, and the first one is Songbird by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I love that song, and it's one that I would return to, you know, again and again. And I think another one that's on my mind this week, and it's because it's Derek's anniversary, it is In the Arms of an Angel, Sarah McLachlan. So
great voice that one has.
Yeah, it's lovely. I feel like putting it on now. I probably will afterwards. But, and you know, Rossa, I think this time last year in January, I actually really struggled through the month. Like I was working and everything, but I felt really, really low. It's like it just got in on me so much because, do you know, one thing I have learned, you know, to do even more throughout the last year, and it's resource myself, even in my grief, in my sadness around my brother. I, you know, would be able to discern now whether I want to think about certain things around, you know, what happened to him. And I really watch my mind before I go down a lane of, you know, thought that will only make me sadder. So it's like I can just pull myself back from it and just connect into the present moment and just be with what is now and surrender the rest, because it just doesn't do me any good if I dwell too much on the sadness of it all. And, you know, that's why I've made a real conscious effort even like this month in January to get out in nature, to get out running. And honestly, my body
you can still run
different.
I
can, yeah. Well, like I go through phases, you know, but at the moment I am like, I'd be able to pinpoint now, you know, with my finger exactly where my fractures are. Like there's no doubt about it. Like my body does feel very different. It looks different. But for me, the main thing is that I'm here, Rossa, and that I can walk. And what a gift that is. You know, it's a gift that something that we all take for granted, I think. But when I think about how different things and life could have been for me and my family.
Yeah, they say there's no joy down that road. What could have been didn't happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the mind, you have to, what I hear you saying in a funny way, which I learned myself, is don't go down those rat traps of what could have, might have been, because they actually chew up the day.
They absolutely do. And I don't think much good comes from it.
No.
And it's not
you go
denying
round
like what happened. But yeah, I have too much, I think. I really want to just honor the time that I have here and, you know, the rest of the time, and really try and protect myself in it and make the most of my life.
And in closing, what words, wisdom is not the right thing, what words would you say to people who have gone through different things that you would say to them to give them a bit of a hope or inspiration or belief?
Yeah, I think, Rossa, what I would say is every single one of us has an inner light inside of us. And, you know, it can feel like that light goes out at certain times through different setbacks, through, you know, heartache, accidents, maybe loss. But that light is always, always in there. And you can access it. How I have accessed it is by connecting with nature, by bringing energy, like good energy into my life, like through the sea, through movement, through exercise, you know, by eating well, by making choices, making skillful choices around what will, you know, benefit me in the long run. And you, like, just remember, if you're listening and you're going through a hard time, what I would say, do not give up on yourself. You were put on this earth for a reason. And like, you know, the healing you need is out there. So just, you know, back yourself, believe in yourself. And if your inner voice is one of like disempowerment, you know, that's one thing I would say now. You know, I really, really have an inner voice of strength, of courage, of I really back myself, Rossa. I really believe in myself. I really pay attention. You know, do, you know, whatever brings you joy. You know, read, you know, something I have found most healing in my life is actually what they call bibliotherapy, like reading books, like try new things, like reflexology, massage, like going on new trips. All of these can bring a bit more vitality into our lives. Just like try something different, but do not ever, 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 ever give up on yourself. You are worthy. You are here for a reason. That is why, you know, you landed on planet Earth. That's why I say we're all here for a reason. And maybe part of the journey is like figuring out what that reason is. I'm not sure, but I would, you know, it took me years to get to the place I am now. But one thing I really admire, Rossa, about myself is I didn't give up. And I've been in really dark places, but I'm so grateful. Like I have met people, you know, that have really helped me along the way. So I would say just do everything and anything for yourself to give yourself the best chance at life.
Olivia Hunt, thank you for joining me on Aran Island Discs today.
Oh, thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure joining you, Rossa.
If you're listening to this, you're ready. Ready to join the industrial intelligence generation. A generation defined not by age, but by a shared mindset. To connect teams, accelerate efficiency, and drive innovation. Using the power of Aviva software to reshape industries. Turning real-time insights into real-world growth. Discover our stories at industrialintelligence.com. Join Generation I.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
This episode is brought to you by Peloton. The new cross-training series balances your workouts with 15-plus workout types for endless movements on and off your equipment. Stay motivated with weekly personalized plans that guide you from beginner to expert and push past your goals with routines tailored to you. Get the new cross-training series. Terms apply.